FM. They are talking to Justice Kanye Kimondo, who is the chairperson of Committee on Operationalization of Judiciary Desks at Huduma Center. The discussion is on why Judiciary is setting up desks at the Huduma Center. Let's listen into the conversation.
E-filing passwords, how to navigate the system, how to self-help using the Judiciary Public Information Kiosk, and then there's payment of fines and deposits, issuance of payment invoices, payment of cash bail, payment of all other deposits in compliance with court orders, and there's a virtual court support that's providing virtual court links, and you can get them there. Now, Judge,
yes,
the president of the Law Society of Kenya has tweeted, and he has said, such initiatives should not be introduced without adequate prior consultation. Chances that the initiative can be abused by masqueraders and increase avenues for unethical practices abound. The initiative should be put on ice to enable stakeholders' consultation. Have you engaged the stakeholders sufficiently?
All right. Thank you very much. There has been some consultation along the way. In fact, some of our key stakeholders would be the Law Society of Kenya, because that's where the lawyers are disciplined. That is where the lawyers get their bread. And they are very important stakeholders in the administration of justice. Other, of course, important stakeholders would be non-governmental organizations, particularly those that help the indigent, for instance, Kituo, Shashaliel, and so forth. One of the activities that will be going on this afternoon at 3, we have a further consultation with the Nairobi branch of the Law Society of Kenya. But let me allay the fears that have been expressed by the president of the Law Society. First, for the services that are being offered at the Huduma counters are the services that have traditionally been offered by the judiciary, either in the courthouses or in the platforms that I spoke about, so that there is nothing new. It is only that this service is being expanded so that it covers as many people in our country as we can. I think it's important to make that clarification. Secondly, at the Huduma centers, we are not offering legal services. I think that is also important, so that there will be no service there that is in competition with the advocate. Thirdly, and I think this is material, there will be, as this system is rolled out, further and deeper consultation with stakeholders and persons who assist the judiciary in rolling out not just this service, but in many other services. It is not just with lawyers, it's also consultation with the public, because the public needs to know that these services are available. And it is also critical to keep in mind that the judiciary is required under the Constitution to offer services to the public expeditiously in a timely manner. So what we are trying to do is merely to reduce the distance between the citizen and the registry. I think this is important, and I think perhaps digressing a little, but sometimes we take it for granted. Some years back, when we had the provinces, you required to travel physically to access a government service, say at the provincial headquarters. The most ridiculous aspect was someone coming, say, from Machakos, because that was in the eastern province, would pass through the city center, but travel all the way to Ebu, where the headquarters were. Or even in Kiambu, you'd have to travel to Nyeri. But that's long gone. Now we have e-citizen services on your computer, on your smartphone. You can access so many services. So that's what we're trying to do. So I think it is important. There will be need for deeper consultation with key stakeholders. I admit that the feelings expressed by the president are genuine, and we shall address them.
Okay. Of course, when you have a rollout like this, where you have a 6 center pilot from next Monday, or 5? 6 center pilot.
Yes.
And then going to roll out to the remaining 52, so the remaining 40, 47, 46 thereafter. It must put a dent in the judiciary budget.
Yes.
Isn't it? Because these are not volunteers. Even if they were, surely they would have a glass of water or something. So it's an expensive rollout, is it not? And does it then divert judiciary funds, or was this in the plan all along?
This was in the plan all along. Like I said, it started some time back, running back to the year 2022. Let me start with the staff. The staff who will be operating on the Huduma counters are judiciary staff. We're not employing new people.
Okay.
Because we have courts across all the 47 counties. And wherever we have a Huduma center, there is a nearby courthouse. So that there shall be no additional budgetary cost on the judiciary for purposes of staff. The other staff who are providing back office support are our staff operating in the courthouses in the registries. They'll be assisted, however, in the following way. They are getting into an institution, Huduma Center, that has other services being offered by the government. We are not paying Huduma any money to use that counter, because Huduma, in its very creation, is supposed to offer government services all across. So the judiciary, in fact, has been missing, and we are bringing it in there. However, to be more specific, in terms of this cooperation, there will be costs. We have put in computers, for instance, at those centers. There will be some software going with it. There will even be a desk or even a seat. And that has been factored in a budget. The budget for bringing into fruition that entire collaboration agreement was agreed upon. It was about 232 million for all the 5 phases. We are just at phase 1. Phase 1 is not expensive at all because we are just linking the services to the courtroom. But there is that kind of cost.
So there's a budgetary implication here.
There's a budgetary implication.
But it's all being borne by the judiciary.
Yes.
But you're not paying for services being offered. You're not paying for rent. You're not paying for water, for electricity.
No.
You're only setting up your desk, plug, play, move.
Move. In fact, Huduma Center will even offer our employee there a cup of tea at no cost.
At Moses Kuria's cost,
yes.
at our ministry's cost.
At the State Department of Public Services cost. They'll even offer them the uniform, the branded uniform for Huduma Center at no cost to the judiciary. So in this framework that we've done, we've clearly set out what the duties of the judiciary will be and what the duties of Huduma Kenya Secretariat will be. And the cost items that would be for the judiciary, like providing the hardware, the seats and so forth.
Yeah.
But then, Judge,
Yes.
would you say that the judiciary was adequately resourced human-wise before we move into Monday's Huduma Center? I'm asking that because you're saying you're not hiring any new staff.
Yes, for the time being.
It's a staff who work for the judiciary who will be deployed to the Huduma centers,
Yes.
working 12 hours a day, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yes.
through several desks.
Yes.
Where are they living, where they were working before?
That's a good one. So that in terms of the pilot program, it's not a challenge, but I also explained that wherever we have a Huduma Center, we have a courthouse nearby. But obviously, and you raise an important matter, the member of staff who goes to offer services at the Huduma Center has left their desk at the registry.
Yeah.
So going forward and in the fullness of time, the judiciary will have to hire more members of staff, and that's ongoing. We've never had enough staff in the judiciary, all the way from the top. That is why we want even to hire more judges for the High Court, more judges for the Court of Appeal, and it cuts across the board. We need more secretaries, we need more court assistants. So this has all been factored, but it's an important service. However, except for the very busy stations, say like GPO or Kibla, for instance, many of the other Huduma centers may not require more than one member of staff, but the busy ones will require at the front office to have at least two. And then keep in mind also that the back office support does not affect our activities in the courthouse.
Okay.
You know, I'm listening to you, Judge,
Yes.
and I'm marveling at the efforts and the innovation that is actually going into ensuring that access to justice is exactly that.
Yes.
Justice that people can easily access.
Yes.
But then comes the question, what are the efforts that you've made to ensure that the entire country actually knows and understands that these services are actually available to them? Because yes, those listening to this show will hear of it. Probably you'll be on another station, maybe you'll be on TV, but what is the overall plan so that everyone in the country knows and understands? Because you see, we understood the usefulness of bureaus. People going, you don't have a computer, but you go to a place where you can access it. Then smartphones came along. But this service is of enormous importance. Because some of the things that bedevil people thinking of where to go, which court to go to, it's suddenly been shortened.
Exactly.
It's suddenly been made very easy.
Exactly.
How will they all know?
We have planned an important communication program,
Yes.
so that the members of the public know that this service will be available. And we said the best place to start is in the situation room at Spice. The other thing that is going to happen is this program will be rolled out in a major national event presided over by the Honorable the Chief Justice and leaders of the other two arms of government in early March. So there'll be a lot of publicity around this event then, so that partly we do not want to steal the thunder from the event that will be a national launch.
Okay.
We want to start out small with the 6 centers, do a show like the one we are doing now, but we have a directorate of public affairs and communication, the equivalent of our PR wing in the judiciary, which is a directorate. It's already issuing out a lot of information in print, through social media, and through our website about this particular service, so that members of the public get to know. So you're going to see a lot of publicity around this between now and early March. But I agree that we need to publicize this down to the village so that people know that this important service is now just next door.
You know, rural electrification made very many things possible.
True.
Because you couldn't have a cyber cafe if you didn't have electricity.
Exactly.
But many of these things are now possible. And then, of course, with the advent of the county governments, a lot more has been possible. But often what we find lacking, especially where matters of the law are concerned, is information. Information that will serve you and will make it possible for you to actually access that justice that you seek.
Yes. Very, very important fact, we usually advise courthouses across the country, and many have taken it, to have what they call a barazal in the morning, where everyone who has come to court, say, if it's a courthouse in Othaya where I was born, all the litigants, other than the prayer session, are advised about the services available in the courthouse. They are also advised that those services are free and that no payment should be made unless it's receipted and so forth. And they get then to develop a level of expectation of the service. So I agree now with where the country is, and with the number of smartphones in the hands of the public, this service is now possible. And we shall ensure that it succeeds. But of course, there'll be challenges, and they'll be dealt with sometimes as they arise. In fact, when we roll out this program on Monday, we want as many Kenyans to come to those counters. That will help us to see the kind of pressure that they put on the system and to see where we need to rectify and improve.
Please go ahead.
Will there be any matters that
Yes.
will not be able to be handled by the folks at the desks at the Huduma centers? I'm thinking about kind of like triage. You go there, you get your blood pressure, you do the first things, then you go. And then if somebody needs to do heart surgery, it's not going to happen there. Are there going to be things that would need to be then escalated?
Yeah, yes, true. So that other than the services that we have isolated here and that we gave at the beginning of the program, other services will have to be accessed at the courthouse. For instance, if this person needs to be heard and it's not a factual hearing, they will need to go to court. Right? So that there will only be limited services that can conveniently be handled online or on an electronic platform at the Huduma Center. So that the surgery, the open heart surgery would have to be done in the courthouse.
You have to go to the specialist.
Yes, but think about it. If you look at the things that we've said here, if you're following up on your judgment, you can sit there and you're able to hear the determination. And you can then, after that, if the judgment is printed and available, you can apply for a copy of that ruling or judgment from the Huduma Center. So that, again, this will also help to reduce the traffic into the courthouses. So you only go there for that open heart surgery.
For the very main one.
Yes.
Judge, since the rollout of the e-filing and the digitization of some of these court services, what's the response been like from advocates?
Oh, the response from advocates has been very good and overwhelming. You recall, like I said at the beginning, I do 99% of my work virtually. The Court of Appeal, I should mention this, does nearly 100% of its cases online. Started all the way when COVID came, and courts had to be innovative to continue offering the service. So lawyers are now able, when they come onto the e-filing system, they get credentials, and they're able to file their court cases from the comfort of their law firms. So that has really helped. They can take a date for this case. The case may be heard factually. The judgment will be delivered. They can get a copy. So we've had tremendous support from lawyers.
Okay.
It hasn't, of course, always been what I'll call a smooth ride. There are always some rough edges. But overall, we've received full support from the lawyers and other actors in the justice chain. Remember, here we are speaking of prisons, the Director of Public Prosecutions. We are looking at NGOs. We are looking at the public. But we've received support, key support from all of these sectors.
I'm asking this because, like, I read the previous tweet by the president of the Law Society of Kenya, Eric Theory, who's outgoing.
Yes.
There's going to be an election soon. One of the candidates for president of the Law Society of Kenya is Peter Wanyama.
Yes.
He's also reacted online, and he says, why is the CJ keen on making the judiciary subservient to the executive? What if the legal framework for Huduma services is charged in a court of law? Did the CJ consult LSK and advocates? This framework will provide a fertile ground for quacks to flourish and has a potential to kill legal practice. The CJ should have consulted widely before pushing through such a hurried arrangement. Why are we getting these kind of concerns and comments from lawyers who are top of their trade?
I would explain it partly because of every new thing that comes sometimes scares people, even technology.
Technology is scary.
Technology is scary. Talking of AI
Even
now
to the
and so
techies.
forth.
Oh, yes.
So I think the initial reaction by Council Peter Wanyama, who I know very well, is that, oh, this is a new service that the judiciary is offering. We have not been fully consulted. There could be quacks. Why is the Chief Justice doing this? Should we be housed by the executive? But we should always keep in mind that the government is one. In fact, if you look at Article 1 of the Constitution, read with Article 2, the judiciary is a co-equal arm of the other two arms of government, the executive and the legislature. But the power that we hold and exercise is donated to us by the people of Kenya. So that if you start drawing some very thin lines between the executive and the judiciary and the legislature, then you get into a gridlock that is unnecessary. For this reason, the money for all of these three branches comes from Wajiko. However, the service that we are rolling out is not any different from the services now available to the lawyers at the registries in the courthouses and on the platforms that we have dealt with in the show. All that we are doing is creating another window in line with the vision of the Chief Justice of having multiple lines of access to justice, where these people can access the service. So it's just someone who stops now at GPO, instead of going to Milimani, they get their service
At GPO.
there. It will not affect the independence of the judiciary, which Council Wanyama is worried about there. In fact, our constitution says these three arms of government are independent, but it also makes a profound statement that they are all encouraged to have interdependence. That is what we are doing by riding on the success of Huduma Kenya.
Titi, what do you think?
You know, it isn't just even the Law Society of Kenya or the lawyers. The legislature are a finicky lot, fussy. And I was, it's not an insult, I'm just describing them. I was going to ask this question, even when we talk of public participation, is it possible, is it feasible that just like various committees of Parliament will call leaders within the ambit of government in the wider sense of the word to Parliament to explain certain things, is it possible for them to have sessions where this is presented to them after the launch so that you say, folks, you may have questions? I say this because every day or every weekend, these people are out talking to their constituents.
Yes.
It helps tremendously when part of the messages have to do with the services you're offering. It may work even better than what we're doing here
Exactly.
because the people listen to them.
Exactly.
And the same communication cascaded to, say, members of the police in a way that you think is appropriate. Why do I say this? Because when it comes to actioning what we have in our laws and as a constitution, it's the police who are supposed to do this.
Exactly.
And just so that people feel that they have been singled out and understood to be an important cogs in this wheel. Now, the Law Society, everything I'm hearing is they feel they want to be spoken to. So make time and speak to them as well, please, as the Law Society, so that they feel the judiciary has recognized them and spoken to them.
Oh, that's a very good proposal. Like I said, as early as this afternoon, we are engaging a number of stakeholders.
Yes.
One of the other key stakeholders that you point out there is, of course, Parliament.
Yes.
And particularly the Legal and Justice Affairs
Committee.
Which in fact is our first stop when we are asking for more funds for the judiciary and for purposes of budgeting. So there will be a lot of activities